Hi there. So in this video I'm going to have a look at what's involved in taking a What Users Do live test. So we've just set up the screen recorder and I've tested that I can check that I can hear my voice and that I'm using the right microphone. So we'll just move on to next, and we are ready to start the screen recorder. So let's start that, and having done that, that will then reveal the first instruction that I need to follow. I've got a 3-second countdown, and then the recorder is ready to go. You'll see that I have, in the top right hand side of my screen here, the first of 5 instructions I need to follow, and you'll find that there are different types of instructions, and we're going to look at each of those within this test. So this first type of instruction is a special requirement. It says make sure you know your summer school holiday dates for this test. Sometimes a special requirement will require you to switch browser or perhaps get some other information ready for the test. So I do know the school summer holiday dates, so let's go ahead and move to the next instruction, which is a scenario. So scenario is a type of instruction that kind of gets you in the mindset for the test. So the scenario here is that I'm thinking of holidaying in Queensland, Australia in the school summer holidays, and I'm thinking about how much it might cost. Okay, so I'm kind of thinking about how much money do I need to go on that rather large holiday in the school summer holidays. Great, so that's a scenario. So I'll move on to the next instruction. This one happens to be a link to go to, so all I have to do is click on that link, and that will start up a browser to go to what looks like the Cathay Pacific site, and that's just loading now. So I can move on to the next instruction, and by pressing next. And the next instruction is a task. So a task complete. So it's something to attempt on the site or app or whatever it is you're testing. And of course I need to think aloud while I do it to say what I'm thinking. So my task, what I need to do is find the price of a return flight from your local airport this August to Cairns, which is in Western Australia, for the party you normally travel with. Right, I use the site to do that. So, and remember that point about think aloud is really important, that when you do think aloud, it's got to be what you're thinking, not necessarily what you're doing. Remember, we can see what you're doing on the screen when you upload your video. So I'm going to fly from Manchester to Cairns. So I'm expecting Cairns to come up as a choice when I type in Cairns. That's weird. I would often they come up with like a little list underneath. Maybe. Well, anyway, let's just type it in. Maybe maybe that'll work. So if I just type it in, it hasn't come up with a list. Summer holidays, so I'd already remembered what they were, so I'm going to shoot for, I think I'll go to like 1st of August. It's probably a good place to depart on rather, and go back on, say, the 22nd. Now, actually thinking about that as I'm doing that, what I get on some sites that I use is I get an option to just select a whole month, which is quite handy if I haven't got very, very specific days. So let's just check. So I'll probably go economy, and I'll go for one child who's aged 2 to 11, and adults 12 plus. There'll be 3 of us on there, so it's a party of 4 in total. And let's just search the flights. It's come up with an error there on Cairns. I just saw a little red box pop up. I don't know what that's for. Please select a valid destination. I thought Cairns would be. That's a bit odd. Anyway, you get the idea there. I should try and complete that task. Let's assume that I had, or that I exhausted myself trying to complete it. Important things there are, you notice that I was thinking aloud. And that I did try a couple of times to complete the task. Just on the task itself, it's really important that you read it. When you move through the instructions, we're about to go to the final one. It's important that you read them very carefully, because you can't go back. You see, there's no back button, so you really have to read them very carefully. Possibly worth just saying the instruction out loud to yourself might help. So if we move on to the next one. So before we move on to the next instruction, there's a question about that task, which was me trying to book a flight to Cairns, or try and find the price of a flight to Cairns. Did I complete this task successfully? Well, you know what? I didn't. Yep, so there are 3 options. If I select yes, then I get to say how difficult or easy I found it, and there's no points for saying something was very easy or something was very difficult just to try and make the client happy because they think their site's easy, or make them happy because they found problems with their site by clicking very difficult. Just be honest in doing that. But in this case, I'm on a no. I definitely could not complete that. Yep. So let's move on to the next task. If you're not sure, sometimes it's unclear. Did I complete that? Then just click that I'm not sure button. So let's move on to the next task. Probably just one thing to mention about the task as well. This is the final type of task you might get, which is just a verbal question, is our clients don't always get the task type right. They need to select whether something's a verbal response or whether it's a task in itself, or whether it's just a scenario. They don't always get it right. So don't worry too much if you're in a verbal response asked to do something from time to time. It's not purely a verbal response. So the verbal response question is, what if anything might put you off booking with us? Please ignore the price for now. Well, I didn't even get to a price because it didn't work. And what put me off booking with you is that it didn't work. I typed in Cairns, as you saw, and it said that wasn't a well, I just couldn't find it, which is odd because it is an airport in Australia. So click on next and we're finished. So now I've finished that, I can upload my video. Now that doesn't mean I'm done by just pressing upload video, because what you find with a lot of tests, most tests in fact, is that there's an exit question to complete after you've uploaded the video. Yep, so we'll just wait for that video to upload and then we can go ahead and complete the exit question. Now we don't consider a test complete until you actually complete that exit question, if indeed there is one. So it's very important that you do this. So that's finished. Exit question needed. So I'll go back to the what users do screen, click on the exit. Oh, in fact, it's popped up for me. There's the exit question. How likely is it you recommend this this site to a friend or colleague? I'll drop that down as a 2. In fact, yeah, probably a 3. I know Cathay Pacific is kind of okay, but if you can't search for flights, then what's the point? So we'll just submit that and go back to my dashboard and see if there's any more tests available. I hope that's been useful, and